Hey guys, I'm here today with Ed Stalewski from Eddie's Pizza 412, and I really wanted to talk to him because we're both from Pittsburgh. So, hey Ed, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Very nice to meet you too, Erica. I'm thrilled to be on your podcast, and I'm glad you invited me to do this with you today.
Absolutely. So, guys, Ed is a multiple champion pizza maker for the Pizza Expo, and I really want to get into his story and how he started making pizza and how he became a champion pizza maker. So, Ed, will you start us at the beginning of how you started to make pizza, like when you got into the industry of pizza making?
Sure. I will have to say that I've always loved making pizzas. I grew up, just loving pizza. I always tell the story. My hometown is called Masontown, Pennsylvania. It's in Fayette County here, and so. So the little pizza, it wasn't even a pizzeria, it was a restaurant. He used to make these pizzas, and they were sort of rectangular pizzas, and they didn't really make their dough, but it was just a good pizza. You could eat the whole pizza, and it was sort of rectangular type pizza slices. But I always loved it. The funny story is that it was always square, and I didn't even know like pizza was round. And I really didn't know pizza was round until Pizza Hut came to town, which was years later. So we only knew square. We would go to there was a we would if people would play bingo. So at bingo, people needed to eat something, so they used to make these square little pizzas on these pizza shells, and so that's how I knew pizza. But it was a most of the pizzas were Sicilian like, so I gravitated more to like Sicilian grandma style pizzas, like I said, and still to this day, those are my favorite pizzas. But I will say about 12, let's see, 12, let's see, yeah, about 12, no, maybe 13 years ago. Um, I actually work in corporate America, and my boss at the time bought me a gift certificate to Crate and Barrel, and so I went to Crate and Barrel looking for something to buy, of course, and I saw this end cap, and I saw all this pizza. So I was obviously drawn to it. I saw pizza pills, pizza cutters. I'm like, oh, and all of a sudden I saw this book sitting on the shelf, and it was called the Pizza Bible. The author
Hmm.
was Tony Gemignani, and at the time, I had no idea, what this book was, who Tony Gemignani was. And so I picked up the book. I picked up read a couple pages of it, had great pictures in it, very easy to read. Probably, I've picked up, hundreds of cookbooks before, but something about this one just drew me to it.
Yeah.
Of course, it was pizza, had great pictures in it. And so I picked it up, put it down. We had $100, and I told my wife I was getting ready to walk out of the store. I said, I'm gonna go buy this book. So I bought the book and took it home and just started reading it. And I always tell the joke that I was taking the book to bed with me, and while my wife is sleeping, I'm reading through the book. I didn't even make a pizza, but I'm reading, just
Yeah.
engulfing myself with the information that's in it. At some point I said, I got to try to make some of these pizzas, and the recipes were great. So, of course, I'm fortunate that I live here in Pittsburgh, and we have a place called Pennsylvania Macaroni Company, which is in the Strip District of Pittsburgh here. They have everything you need. You have the best tomatoes, best cheeses,
Yep.
sauce. I mean, you name it, they got it. So,
Yep.
of course, I headed on down there. Then only to come find out that, as you're reading the book, there's equipment you have to buy. So, um, and then again, this is just making pizzas in your home oven. So, I've made pizzas in my oven before, and they were good. My wife said, "Oh, these are good," but I used some simple Betty Crocker recipe before. When got this book and I started making the recipes from it, things just my pizza game went from 0 to 100 just
Wow.
like that. I mean, and so I'm a very strong advocate for the book. You should see. I should probably bring it out and show it to you. It's about ready. It falls apart. It's held together with duct tape.
I love
Um,
that.
so, and so there was some equipment I needed to buy. So to make pizzas in your home oven, you need a pizza still or pizza stone. And I think I already had a stone from previous pizza making. And then I bought a pizza still. And so when I what The good story about that is that my mother-in-law, who lives up the street from us here, told her about this book, and she loves, she loved food, so I said, hey, her name is Bernice. I said, Bernice, I said, I want to start making these pizzas in this book. I said, but I need, these certain things. So like I came home from work one day and I looked on the porch and there was this box on my porch. Sure enough, it was the pizza still that I needed to
Wow.
start. So started making some pizzas. So I would make them, and then I would, our family here would, my wife and my daughter would eat them, and they're pretty good. And then I would take slices over to my mother, so she'd get to try them. So we would work our way through the book, through the different recipes,
Yeah.
in the book, which was great. So I got to try all different styles, and then you just start making them and start refining them. And I pretty much made every recipe in the book, I would say. Now that was probably, I started that probably in 2013 maybe.
Hmm.
So you can tell, it's 12 years past, Um, I really didn't, I wasn't on social media at the time. I don't even know if social media even existed. And I know, I'm sure Instagram didn't. But like in 2017, up until 2017, I had a flip phone. I didn't even have a smartphone, and
Hmm.
I got a smartphone. And in 2019, I ended up my daughter got me on Instagram, and I started making pizza, started posting on Instagram. I actually bought my first pizza oven. I bought an Ooni pizza oven. I had a
Wow.
great deal going on. So I'm like, okay, let me try this Ooni oven out, and started making pizzas in that. I still have the oven, and just kept making pizzas. So that was 2000. So 2019, I went to my first pizza expo in Las Vegas. I have a friend that lives in Las Vegas. He retired. He used to work for the FBI. Went there, stayed with him. I said, James, I'm coming out to stay with you. So I went there. I got engulfed in this pizza expo because Tony mentions it in the book, but I had no concept as to what it was. Had no idea who went to it, who got to go to it, and I was just floored whenever I got there. I was my. I mean, information overload. Took a couple of Tony's classes. He signed my book that year, which was great. Didn't know who I was, of course, but it was fine. Because I wasn't really on social media doing anything and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But I learned so much there. And then, during that time, I was also sort of engulfing myself with the local pizza scene here. So I liked eating pizza too. So I also wanted to, I started visiting pizzerias, got to start friending, people from pizzerias here just to get to know them and things. So, of course, I go out there to Pizza Expo that year, and see some of the people that have pizzerias here in Pittsburgh.
Hmm.
Actually, some of them were competing. One guy, his name is Pete Tolman. He owns Ironborn Pizza here in Pittsburgh. He actually won Best Pizza in the Northeast that year that I
Wow.
was there. Um, Michael Mercurio, who owns him and his family own Mercurio's, which is the wood-fired Neapolitan pizza shop
Hmm.
here. That's actually the pizzeria that I work with. I've been there about 5 years now, part-time. And it was just, I saw him there. I read about him. He also won a Caputo Cup in, I think, 2018, which was in, I think in Atlantic City, New Jersey, I
Hmm.
think that year. So, he was, he won some big, it was a big award. But I think, I saw him there. I went up to him. I met him, and I think he was really taken back by the fact, like, who knows me here? How do you know me? Because, I was starting to figure things out.
Hmm.
So we came back that year. I actually ended up we're also working at a pizzeria prior to Mercurio's called the old Pizzaiolo here in Pittsburgh. Again, a wood-fired pizzeria. They opened one up like 10 minutes down the street from my house here, and I went there to work for them, and that lasted about almost a year.
Hmm.
And I also just I don't know. I saw that competition. It sort of I don't know, it intrigued me, and I'm saying, I think I can, make pizzas and maybe compete. 'Cause I think I make some pretty good pizza. So I talked to some folks at the expo, and they're like, "Hey, just do it, just compete." So the next year happened to be COVID, the
Hmm.
COVID year, and usually Pizza Expo is in March, but they delayed it to August. So I didn't go to Pizza Expo until August. I did compete in my first competition, which was the pan competition. I think I came in 12th out of 32. Not bad,
Wow, not bad.
considering, my first time. I mean, I competed against some, pretty big names in there. Um, So I thought that was, pretty good. So that would have been I think that would have been in 2021. That's right, 2021. The
Mhm.
next year I go back, I said, I'm going to enter a different competition. So I entered a non-traditional competition that year, and I made a pizza that was a round tavern style pizza, very thin crust, had pepperoni roses on it. It
Mhm.
was just beautiful, and
Mhm.
I came in seventh out of maybe 92 that year.
Wow.
But they also had a Northeast. They had a regional award, and I came in first in the Northeast.
Wow.
So, I mean, I was floored whenever I just never would have thought that I would have came in. So I got a lot of publicity, local press. They interviewed me. I got in the newspaper, which was good. I think that also helped. And I was very active on social media, still am to this day, and
Yeah.
um, I've also in that time period, I've also become an ambassador for Uni, the pizza ovens. So I do social media content for them. I make pizzas, and I do events for them too if they have the local events here in the area.
Mhm.
Um, but that, and I've also had some other endorsements. I don't really want to talk about some of the names there, but that's it comes with the territory. As you expand your knowledge, people start asking you for different things. But I've been very fortunate to do what I've been able to do. I mean, none of this would be possible if it wasn't for the support of my family, my wife, my daughter. I mean, it's been incredible, and then to win things is just great. But but yeah, Pizza Expo. I always tell everybody, you got to go there. You just
Yeah.
got to see what this place is like. It's just one of the greatest. Um, I will say, so I will say, so more recently, so 20, I guess, I don't know, so 2023, I also competed that year.
Mhm.
I think I made another pizza. I came in 10th out of, I think there was like 97 that year. I
Wow.
missed, I missed, the Northeast and also being like third overall by point 0.3 points. So it's like
Wow.
there's very small margins, and at point 0.3 points could have swayed me to third place and then first in the Northeast um, the next year. Last year, I think I came in 20th, and there was about 100 competitors. So I
Mhm.
feel like I'm slipping a little bit. So this year I'm going back in March. Going to make something again. Don't really want to say what I'm doing just yet.
Sure, sure.
I like it to be a little bit of a surprise when you show up there, but I'm excited about going back there. I will say in August of this past year, I was invited to come with the California Milk Advisory Board, so Real California Cheese.
Yeah.
I submitted an application, a couple different pizzas and recipes. They do this every year, and then they pick your and they don't even taste your pizza. They don't even see it. They just see a picture of it. They see a recipe, and then they pick you as a finalist for this competition. And I got picked last year. I was one of 8 people. My competition was 4 people, so I was in the protein competition, and then we had there was a produce, which is mainly, non-meat. So I
Yeah.
was in the protein. Again, I made that pizza with the roses on it. They called it the Rose Bowl because obviously it's California. They have the Rose Bowl there. So there was a good play on that. But I won that competition.
Wow.
Tony Gemignani happened to be one of the judges. A couple other world pizza champions were judges there. And so it was just a surreal moment for me to win that. Again, it was just I won some money, but just the fact that just to win something, and just being passionate about doing something and winning something. So I'm a very modest person, humble guy. I don't like to gloat about things.
Yeah.
But so
No,
I'll
it's
stop
awesome.
there.
It's such a big achievement. It's amazing. And what is your favorite pizza to make?
Oh my goodness, I knew you was going to ask me that
I'm
question.
asking
Oh
some
my
tough
god.
questions
They're
today.
well, they're like all my favorites, believe it or not. But I will say, I like the tavern style. It's a very thin, cornmeal crusted
Hmm.
pizza. I also put a little bit of a cheese edge around it as well. So when every this all the toppings and sauce and everything goes way to the edges, so there's no crust. No, maybe
Yeah.
a tiny, but very, very tiny. You hardly have it. I'd say that's one of my favorites. I would say, I mean, there's so many of them. I love Sicilian pizza. I think I have perfected the Sicilian pizza, I would say here. No one's really seen that pizza yet, even in competitions.
Hmm.
I feel like it could, it would rival most Sicilians that are out there. So I worked the hardest, I think, on that one because I just was, I just felt like it was in my wheelhouse. Because I grew up, with liking and eating Sicilian kind of pizza, so it was the one I gravitated to the most. I do like cast iron pizza. That's one of my ultimate favorites,
Nice.
just with a crust, black, real caramelized edges, um, I like pizzas that have a lot of stuff on them, a lot of stuff. But you got to be careful when and I've learned a lot in competing is, you know, you learn over the years that, you can kind of get a sense as to what judges are looking for. So, so I'm learning, starting to learn more about like different flavor profiles. I think I made a mistake last year with when I made a cast iron pizza that all my things that I had on it was too big, like two big pieces of, instead of I should have cut up the pepper small, or I should have cut up the chicken in bite size, or
Mm.
things like that where, whereas you can't think like how you would like it. You kind of got to think how someone else would like it and eat it. So
Yeah.
that's the one thing that I've learned through this whole process is, what you may like may not be what everybody else likes.
That's true. And speaking of what you may like, what is your favorite pizza to eat?
Favorite pizza to eat.
Mhm.
I'm a big fan of Detroit style. I like Detroit style.
Yeah.
It's a fun pizza to make. Again, it's a thicker pizza. Mine aren't really that thick. I do try to, knock mine down a bit, but it's a unique pizza. A lot of people don't like it because they think that the crust is burnt, and a lot of people don't like eating crust either. So I
Yeah.
like it. So when I work at the pizzeria, I will say, Neapolitan pizza. I get mad sometimes. I see people. I'm making the pizza for them, and then the waitress is bringing the plates back to the dish, and I can see the plates, and all I see is just crust. And I'm
Crust
like,
everywhere.
I mean, it's like that's the best part of this pizza. You have to eat the crust, But
Yeah.
people grow up that way. You grow up like, oh, I don't, when you were a kid, or you had kids, you're always like cutting, just give them this, but cut the crust off, like, that. And then you grow up as an adult, and you're like, oh, I don't really, I don't eat crust because that's how I grew up as a kid eating, right? So,
Yeah.
but maybe that's why people don't like crust. I don't know, but let me go back. So I work at the Neapolitan shop, and I love the camaraderie. I've loved working. The family's great that I work for, the Mercurios. I learned so much there, but I have fun there, and you learn what it is that takes to run a restaurant and run a business, and what goes on with. I mean, I'm just scratching the surface. I don't even know what happens behind the scenes, with the payroll and employees and whatnot,
Yeah.
but it's a lot. It's a lot. And but I do love Neapolitan style pizza. I think it's what I people think it's like one of the hardest styles of pizza. I think that's um to make. People
Yeah.
may think it's easy, but there's so many variables that go into it. You have, your dough temperature has to be the right temperature. You got to have experienced people that knows how to make it. You got to manage the fire that's in the oven, and the floor can't be cold. It's got to be hot. There's all these different variables, and it's challenging. But man, when you make a really nice one, it's just so it feels good. It feels good. And I always get satisfaction because when I work there, I work with another worker there, and I don't run the oven that much. I'm more of the pizza maker, so I get to put my own spiel and touch on the pizza. So even though it's their recipe, I may put a little more extra basil or do something a little different. The way I line certain things up, when I'm making, I don't just throw it on there. Um, but when I make it, I pride myself on the pizzas being nice and round with a nice puffy crust. And so when the pizza maker takes them out of the oven and puts them over on the plate where the girls cutting them, the girls are always like, "Man, that's a really nice looking pizza. Boy, that's a super round pizza, or it's perfect pizza." And I don't know if they say that to everybody, but I think it's because me and my other coworker, we have a good rapport. We work well with each other, with making pizzas come out right for the customer. So,
Yeah, no, your
so it's
pizzas
fun.
are perfect. I have been looking on your Instagram page, and that's why we contacted you, because we looked at your Instagram page, and your pizzas are they're, it's like an artist has made the pizzas.
Oh, thank
Especially,
you. I really appreciate it.
yeah, especially with the rose pepperonis, like they are just really, really beautiful pies. And the bottoms are just like where you show the bottom of the pizza, they're absolutely amazing.
I love finish. Like my favorite part of the pizza making is the finishing part. Like where I I mean, I don't say I'm like a total artist because I'm not, but I don't know. Sometimes you just get a feel where a set, and sometimes I make some pizzas that are really crappy. I'm like, okay, I don't like the way that looks, it's, yeah. But I try to make them look pretty, and that's all. Believe it or not, that all has to do with me following the examples of Tony Gemignani. If you see him make pizzas and finish pizzas, and you understand the care that it takes. Like even he'll say, you know when you put a piece of basil down on a pizza, don't make sure you turn it to the pretty side, not the ugly side. I mean, it's those little details that in my opinion really make a difference. It's the placement of your toppings and cheese, and so that when he's a big advocate, or believer in cutting the pizza first and then doing a lot of post bake finishing, so adding your cheese and you'll see me garnishing and finishing after I cut. And the reason for that is because you know when you go to serve the piece, when you cut a pizza and it has all the doodads on it, everything kind of gets cut and messy in the cut. So this way you can really put the things on the pizza in a way that when you serve it to somebody, they're going to get like a piece that you would give to a judge. I mean, that's really what it comes down. It's all about the presentation too, and you're going to be like, boy, that's really nice. I want to come back here and eat, if it's sloppy, you may or may not come back there and eat. So
Yeah.
those are the things. And that just sort of, I don't know if that just, if him and I just, you know, if that was just, I don't know, that's just the kind of the way I think too.
Yeah.
So that's why it was a kind of a good match there. But it's funny though, as long as I've been doing these pizzas, him and I have become, really good friends over the years. You know, I would have never thought, in a million years. I mean, he's such a genuine person too. Like anybody you meet or come across him, will tell you the same thing. He cares about, he doesn't even, you could be this pizza owner operator down here, but it doesn't matter. If you need help, he figures out a way to help you. And
Wow.
I've seen that firsthand. I really haven't reached out to him for help myself, but there was, I do push his book a lot in my posts, and whoever I talk to, and and there was this one gentleman that happened to, have some trouble, and I was unavailable. He couldn't get me through Instagram, or, to answer the question.
Mhm.
And he reached out to Tony. Tony calls him. Now, this guy, I mean, he's just, small potato guy, I would say. And he calls him out of the blue. And I think it was because, that's just who he is. I mean, and so,
Yeah.
and you go to Pizza Expo, everybody, he's very well revered in the industry. Obviously, he's a 13-time world pizza champion. But that's the one thing that, I've I just learned that, but we've become friends. I've actually, just recently went to a Pizza Con, which was in Philadelphia, he was speaking as a keynote speaker, and during that keynote, he mentioned me. Like there was thousands of people there, and he had mentioned me. So I'm like, this is
Wow.
just surreal, He obviously was the judge and but he knew me way before that, and I think he also know. The other fact is that I work for the Mercurios, and not taking anything away from anybody here, but they're on Tony. Tony has there was a team he formed called the World Pizza Champions, and there's about 40 or 50, I think 50 members of that team. I mean, you have to be at the top of your craft to get on that team. And the Mercurio family, Joey, Michael, and Anna, all are part of Tony's team. So um,
Wow.
there's Pete Tolman here who owns Ironborn as part of that team. We have the president of the World Pizza Champions is here in Pittsburgh. His name is Nick Bogatz. He has restaurants here called Calientes. That's a good guy you can get on your podcast
Okay.
if he has time, but he would be great. I mean, if you get the big names too, that'd be great. But he's a good guy because he started. Nick actually started like doing like he was delivering pizzas for. I don't want to mention the chains, but he was delivering pizzas. But he just stuck with it over the years, and he just stuck in the industry. Started buying a pizzeria, and then he would buy another one, and so on and so forth. He even wrote a book on how to expand your business and become very successful. And they've actually won awards at I said Pizza Expo.
Yeah.
So like I won best pizza in the Northeast in 2022. I beat them that year, so
Okay.
there's a there's a little bit of it's all good. It's
Yeah.
all good. We all have a good time. They talk about me as the guy that's making pizzas in my shed in the backyard. But
Okay.
there's but it's been fun though. The camaraderie with everybody in the pizza industry is just incredible. I would have never thought in a million years that this has even existed out there.
I mean, I love it. I love hearing about it. Your story is so awesome. And you have made a lot of pizza. Like if you go through your Instagram page and you've made so many beautiful pizzas. I mean, I've been scrolling through even before our podcast and it's just amazing pizza after amazing pizza.
Oh, thank you. There's so many more good pizza people, pizza makers
Yeah.
out there. I mean, I could give you 10 names right now off the cuff, so we could talk about that later. But
Yeah.
there's so many it's there's just so many good pizza makers out there. I'm just maybe I'm getting I get a lot of press because I've been at it for so long, but and also there's always new people coming into the game. It's always good to see other people, and then you also get a lot of inspiration from everybody else, so I enjoy it. I enjoy everything about it. It's been fun. I'm not, I work in corporate America. I've been there for going on 29 years. That's
Wow.
what keeps the lights on at my house. The pizza is a fun, I would say, hobby for me. I do love competing, tremendously. Will I ever open a restaurant? I'll never say never, but right now I'm just happy doing what I'm doing today and being able to support my family. I have my daughter is she's a freshman at University of Purdue or Purdue University. And so I'm very thankful and happy that we got her there, and we want to just get her through the next 3 or 4 years, and we'll see what happens after that. But yeah, I enjoy. I One goal of mine would be one of these days, if I could ever make it, is to get on that World Pizza Championship team. That's would be a dream of mine to do that. But you got to win competitions. You got to be active in the community. The pizza community. There's so many things, and you just have to be a stand-up person. There's, and be passionate about pizza, and it's what they're looking for moving this industry forward. So I think down the road, that's something I would like to do. They do a lot of great work, year over year, with different things. They do a lot of donations to different organizations, Make a Wish Foundation. I mean, they do so much, that. So it would be nice to be a part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I have loved having you as a guest. It's been so great to hear your story. I can't wait to share this with everyone. Guys, please go follow him, Eddie's Pizza 412 on Instagram. He's a champion pizza winner and just makes really beautiful pizzas. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed my time with you, and very nice meeting you.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you.